Hello and welcome to episode 170 of Controller Club, the friendly face gaming space, a podcast where three friends from three continents share in one love, and that is video games. On today's show, Hades 2. It has a release date. Yoshi is wowing for Mario's 40th birthday, and we have plenty more headlines from this week's Nintendo Direct. But before all that, let's introduce ourselves. My name is Kleinfeld, and alongside me today are two of my best friends in the whole wide gaming world. First, coming to us from across the pond, it is the digital art daredevil himself back home in his tiny London flat. Tom, how are you doing? Feels like it's been so long.
It really does. Yeah, it is good to be back. It's good to come back to like great gaming news that we're gonna get into shortly. But then also like this weekend, just being like, I'm gonna play some games that are incredibly difficult and are gonna annoy me a lot and make me really upset. So it's been kind of a balancing thing in the gaming world of coming back to London town, which has been fun. But we'll get into that as we go through the show, obviously. But yeah, great to be here.
We are happy to have you. And joining us as well as always, it is the journalist extraordinaire, the Australian abroad / the Canadian in training, Lauren Rouse. Lauren, a little chilly, you said before we got on the podcast. How are you doing? You got some tea, so you were trying to stay warm in this early fall.
Here we are talking about the weather again.
Damn it. Oh, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, for the listeners, we had a joke that we noticed when we're all together that we talk about the weather a lot in the opening segments. So I'm going to steer us away from that. But I'm still living off the high of PAX, I think. Like I've had a big video game related week obviously we're going to talk about the Direct. So that was really fun to react to and played quite a few things that, have just like continue to like maintain my spirits about games. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I think we are all still living off the high of that PAX West weekend. Every time I forget about it a little bit, someone in my life who I haven't seen since then is like, hey, how was that thing in Seattle? And then I get to go through and it was awesome. We did this. Dumplings were delicious. We did all these cool interviews. It was exhausting, but it was a whole lot of fun as well. So yes, you can find all of our PAX West coverage still going up over on our YouTube page, over on socials. I think we should be coming towards the end of it, but the best part about PAX was we made a lot of great connections, and we will continue to have conversations about the things we saw and played and did as we go on in the coming weeks and months. But I think it's time we get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. It's been a little bit since we've done a traditional Controller Club. Last week, if you didn't know, on the feed, we had a very special interview special where we put together all of our PAX West conversations together into one special episode. But today is back to your normal programming, and we are talking about the Nintendo Direct. We did a live react over on our YouTube page. You can go check that out right now. Nintendo Direct was bright and early, 6 a.m. I'm trying to remember what day it was. It feels like so long ago. Friday morning, September 12th, 6 a.m. Pacific time. They were there, and we finally got the Nintendo Direct that fans have kind of been waiting for. That's why we did live react so early in the morning, as Nintendo pulled the curtain back on the next 6 to 9, maybe 12 months on the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. It clocked in at just over an hour, which marks the longest Nintendo Direct ever that was not focused on announcing a new console, and the very first Nintendo Direct of the Nintendo Switch 2 era, which is very exciting. This is the first time we got an official Nintendo Direct since the Switch 2 has launched, and it set high expectations because of this lengthy runtime for fans who've been eager to know what's next for the iconic gaming brand. Before we get into what actually happened, we're going to go through kind of announcement by announcement and stop when we have stuff to say. I want to ask the two of you, how are we feeling now that we've come off we've had a couple days to sit and ruminate on a Nintendo Direct? It was a little early. We'll go to you first, Lauren, because I think you were the most adverse to waking up at 6 a.m. Did it live up to your expectations?
Not logical.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. Did it live up to your expectations, and how are you feeling now that you've kind of sat through that about 70 minutes of announcements?
Yeah, I was pretty unhappy about having to get up so early, particularly because I've become very skeptical of these showcases and things like that, because there's been so many that have just been like, well, that was just okay. But I will say I walked away pretty happy from this one. I left feeling very optimistic and excited about a lot of the things. There was way more things for me than I was expecting. So that may not have been the case, for everybody, but I was definitely had like a few games to add to my list at the end of the show. So that was exciting. And of course, There's some things coming out very soon that I just was blown away by. So I left this one feeling pretty good. I think this might even rival the Switch 2 Direct, to be honest, for me.
Yeah, it was a very good, very packed showcase. Lots of stuff. We got a lot of Mario announcements, Metroid, Fire Emblem. We touched on a lot of different things. Tom, were you as high coming off of it as Lauren was? It wasn't nearly as early for you, so I think that the bar was a little lower for you to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, the decision to get up, quote unquote, was a lot easier for me because I just it was in the afternoon, which is lovely for me. But no, I think I had a lot of expectations. This being, they're teasing it was over an hour. I mean, yeah, we got like 70 minutes worth of announcements, and I really enjoyed this. Like both just watching the direct and the things that we got out of it. I feel a lot more confident, like in my, I guess, quote unquote investment in the Switch 2 now, knowing that there is so much throughout the end of the year and in spring of 2026. Like it seems like there's so many games that I'm like looking forward to at this point that it's getting like to be a problem, to be honest. There's like a lot of interference now that I'm like, I have to prioritize this and this and this. So yeah, just like a lot of stuff that I thought showcased really well. I thought the direct itself was paced really well in terms of like the announcements. It felt really snappy and fast paced. It didn't linger on anything for too long. Yeah, I was just really impressed by this. Is it the best Nintendo Direct that's ever happened? I don't think it necessarily is, but I think this is what a lot of people needed. And I think it did what it had to do, and it was a good show overall.
I think I want to echo your sentiment, Tom, that it was the direct a lot of people needed. That's kind of how I feel coming out of it. I don't think this was the best direct in the entire world. I don't think every announcement was for me, but after the will they do a direct this week and then it's a partner showcase, will they do a direct this week and it's an indie world, ever since the Nintendo Switch 2 came out, a lot of people are wondering, when are we going to get the Nintendo Direct? When are we going to get that first kind of pulling back the curtain of what the first 18 months of the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to look like? And that was this. I'm glad they came out and they were like, hey, this is going to be over an hour long. Just hearing that took a big weight off my shoulders, thinking, like I can breathe. I'm going to be able to sit here, and even if not everything's going to be for me, there will be 5, 6, 7 things that I'm very excited about as a Switch 2 owner. And there is stuff there for original Switch owners as well. There are however many millions of those consoles out there, and they continue to support it. But I think we should get into it and start with not necessarily a video game announcement. I've kind of divvied up this whole thing into 4 chunks. We started with what I'm calling the Mario 40th Anniversary Power Hour. This is the first about 10, 15 minutes of the show, and we opened with the Super Mario Galaxy movie. We finally have a title. We finally have a first trailer. We do have a few cast announcements as well. No new names. They just said that Chris Pratt is back as Mario, Charlie Day is back as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, and Michael Richardson as Kamek. No Donkey Kong mentioned there. We're not going to stop at every announcement. We will roll through a couple of them. However, I want to stop here just because this was one of the biggest announcements of the show. What did we think of getting this first tease of the Super Mario Galaxy movie? Tom, were you jumping up and down in your seat?
I mean, I was a bit like, I was hoping for a little bit more. Maybe even if it was just one extra character announcement, like a Rosalina. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the characters that we're expecting to be in this movie, like Rosalina, are gonna like be in the movie essentially. But the fact that it kind of was like almost like a retread of that original Mario movie announcement did deflate it a little bit. It felt like we were kind of like going through the motions again. But I have to say, like when they did play, the music from Galaxy as it kind of pans up in that teaser, it did get me hyped. I'm pretty lukewarm on that first movie. There are aspects I really like about it, and there's aspects that really frustrate me. But I am kind of excited. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. But the kind of idea of them leaving a lot of like mystery around it is also kind of, I don't know. It is an interesting strategy. I mean, I'm sure it's going to pay off anyway. The first movie made $1 billion. Like, I'm sure the second movie is going to do the same at this rate. But yeah, it was like all right. Would have liked a bit more, but I'm a little bit more excited for the movie, so I guess it did what it had to do.
Lauren, were you amped up on it, being somebody that didn't really jive with the first Mario movie?
not really, because I didn't
Yeah.
really like the first movie. So I was like, all right, another one. I knew there was going to be a second one. But I think also, like, being in the news cycle like we are for work, we had heard the rumors of the patent on this title and the copyright being filed, and was pretty much expecting it to be called the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So for that to be the big reveal was a little bit like, and I'm sure this was exciting for people who didn't know that, but I'm with you, Tom. If they had just given us like one little bit more, like some kind of hint of where of a place we'll be going, of a character we'll be seeing, of a casting, just something, I think would have made that a little bit more exciting. But I do like that they're timing its release with Mario's 40th anniversary. I think that's like really good brand synergy. But yeah, I will see it because we'll probably be talking about it, and I will do it for the people. But if I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't be seeing it.
April 3rd, 2026. I kind of think you bring up the trademarks that came out. I guess it was the day before the direct, 2 days before the direct, some domains registered with this name. I think that had the trailer happened without us knowing that, I would be more excited about it, just because the way the trailer opens, there was rumors, is this going to be Super Mario World, the movie? Is this going to be Galaxy? What's it going to be? And the way it opens, it's Mario World music. Mario's sitting there back in Mushroom Kingdom, and it's like, oh, this could very well be a Mario World thing, and then we pan up and it's Galaxy, and like that reveal I think would have been a little bit bigger had some of the wind not been taken out of the sails by those domain registrations. But it is exciting, as I said, April 3rd of 2026. We then moved on for more Galaxy content. Galaxy 1 and 2 coming to Switch and Switch 2 as a collection. This is the first time Galaxy 2 has been on the Nintendo Switch. You can now play every mainline 3D Mario game on your Switch or Switch 2 console except Super Mario 3D Land for the Nintendo 3DS. Will we ever get that? I don't know. This collection is coming out October 2nd, 2025 for the hefty price tag of $69.99 US dollars, 100 Canadian dollars, or you can buy each one individually for $39.99 USD. They'll be running in HD. You got new assist modes there, as well as new storybook interludes with Princess Rosalina. I don't know if we need to dwell on this for too long, but Tom, I'll just ask you very quickly: $100 Canadian, $69.99 for these two games.
It's
Are
rough,
you
man.
are you swiping the card?
I don't think I am, honestly. I mean, I got the 3D collection, the limited time 3D collection. Why was it limited to the release? I don't know. But so I have Galaxy on Switch already. I kind of do want to play Galaxy 2 again, but at this price, it feels, I don't know, it just feels kind of, it rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I know we're not in the Wii U days where they were just basically like giving these games away, not for free, but like for a pretty affordable price. But I just think this is too much. Like, and it makes me worried if they eventually do the Twilight Princess Wind Waker re-releases. That they're probably going to be the same price. I mean, granted, those are like HD full remakes, so that's a little bit more justified. But yeah, it is. I just wish these were cheaper. Like these shouldn't be this much.
I hate to do it, but that's two Silksongs for one of these games. Just
Exactly.
simple
That
math.
says it all.
We then moved on to a new Mario Tennis announced. Mario Tennis Fever, the return of an RPG single player mode, was kind of the big things, where everyone is a baby, including Wario and Luigi, which was a little unnerving. As well as the addition of these new Fever rackets, which were kind of like power ups that you can get mid match and make your opponent small, turn the floor, turn the court into ice. And that game's coming February 12th, 2026. And then we kind of closed out the Mario section with Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder's getting a Switch 2 update called Meetup in Bellabelle Park. Nothing super big here, just some minigame-like multiplayer levels and a tease of new regular platforming levels, but nothing substantial is shown, and that's coming 2026. Lauren, we're going to go to you for this. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, a new Yoshi platformer, rounded out the Mario 40th anniversary celebration coming spring 2026 with this gorgeous storybook art style. We put up a short of our reaction over on socials right now. Lauren, you were the most amped up. You were the most excited seeing this for the first time. A new Yoshi platformer. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I think it's no secret that I'm like not very invested in the world of Mario. Like they weren't my childhood games, but I did play Yoshi's Island 3 on the Game Boy. Or was Yoshi's Super Mario Advance Yoshi's Island. I don't know. It was something like that. Um, and so that was kind of my window into this world. So, whenever I'm playing Mario Kart, I'm playing Yoshi. Like if there is an option to play as Yoshi, that's who I'm picking. And so, like, to get a Yoshi branded game or headlined game is very exciting for me. And this did look very like lovely. I think it's probably, we'll wait to see a little bit more. It's probably skewing a little bit younger, but I think it could still be really, really fun, particularly like the story seems to be that you go into the pages of this book and you interact with these different creatures within it, and they all have, and you basically like learn about them by interacting with them and going through levels and platforming challenges by like that. And it just seemed very creative. Some of the things that they showed off, like you can use I think it was like there was like these dandelion things that would help break rocks, and you can imagine like carrying one of those around to help you get through different levels. So that's like really cool platforming gameplay in my mind. I think that would be really satisfying to like check out and see how that world comes to life. So I'm keeping my eye on it. The only thing is that it said coming to Switch 2, so I'm like, oh, it might be an exclusive to Switch 2.
Yeah, I think
Not
that
buying a
this is
Switch 2 for this.
no. This is one of the first titles that we saw that was, oh, this is a Switch 2 exclusive. Tom, you're our art guy. How do you feel about Yoshi's gotten all the coolest art styles over the last little while? Yoshi's Crafted World, Yoshi's Woolly World, and now he's going back to the storybook style that he kind of had in Yoshi's Island back in the day.
Yeah, well, this is the thing that I love about the Yoshi games. They're not afraid to just completely switch up the art style. Like I think that's really cool. I remember when Woolly World came out, and you could get, well, I have them here, the yarn Yoshi like amiibos. Like it's just such a cool idea to like completely shift how these games look. I've not actually played any of the like a Yoshi game, and this might be my jumping on point. Honestly, like I think the art style they've chosen is gorgeous. The way they kind of have this limited frame rate a lot of the time with them kind of bobbing up and down, as well as like these. Lauren kind of alluded to like these little creatures that help you out. One of the things that really stood out to me is like this: you have this like at one point this little, I don't know, little fella like on your back, and he can like allow you to like do fishing and stuff like that. And there's other little instances like that that kind of, I don't know, like pique my interest, and I'm interested to see how they switch up like Yoshi's movesets with these little fellas essentially. So I'm gonna keep my eye on this for sure. I think this looks really charming. Yeah, looks great.
You sure it's not too easy, Tom?
It might be.
Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next one.
This game is going to get a ton of run in this house because there is a massive Yoshi platformer fan who I happen to live with. Gabby loves the Yoshi games, loves them. I showed her this trailer and she's like, that Switch 2 will be mine for a couple of weeks sometime in spring 2026.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I mean, this calendar, spring 2026, is getting packed. Hopefully they space things out a bit because there may be some other things to play coming up in a couple months here. This next section I called the rapid fire middle bit. Lots of third party talk, a few first party things, and one kind of big headliner. So I'll run through everything and I'll leave the headliner for the end because I think we have some thoughts on it. Indie games that were announced for the Switch 2 coming: Stormlancers, a new roguelike, and Dinkum. Don't really understand what this game is, but it's got a fun name. Then we got a new look at Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. It continues to be just unnerving as hell. Terrifying. Love the sense of humor. Coming spring 2026. Final Fantasy VII Remake and MK Legacy Collection dated for Switch 2. Final Fantasy is coming January 26, 2027. Also, this isn't from the Direct. A Square Enix press release revealed that the rest of the Final Fantasy VII trilogy will be coming to Switch 2 as well, including the untitled third game.
That's crazy.
Seems absolutely
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Mortal Kombat is only a few weeks away. It will be coming on October 30th, 2025. Then we're going to skip the next announcement and get to it at the end of this section because I don't think we're going to have too many thoughts on the rest of these games. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment was shown off again. New gameplay trailer. Big news here was that's coming November 6th, 2025. Tom, 5 words or less. Are you buying this or not? Is this one for you? You've talked about this franchise before.
If frame rate good, yes. Is that
Okay.
5 words?
There you have it.
Good job.
And then Dragon Quest VII Reimagined was announced, another Dragon Quest remake, remaster, reimagining, I don't really know, coming with a new art style, and it is going to be released February 5th, 2026. Let's hop back a couple announcements because there was a big one in here. What?
Before we
What's
get
going
to
on?
that,
Yep.
I only wrote down 4 games out of this showcase, and one of them I think I'm going to get laughed at. But I mean, I was laughing at it when it was on screen, but that Dinkum game, like, listen, it is made by one Australian guy. I have to support my fellow countrymen.
Oh, this was the Australian survival game. Of course.
The sort of Minecraft Animal Crossing sim set in Australia, which I had been joking in the morning that the one thing I wanted to see was like a new Animal Crossing. And then I saw this and I'm like, oh, could this be it? I mean, I think I would get a lot out of it, having lived in Australia for most of my life. I would recognize a lot of probably the small things that other people don't. But I thought this looked really charming and cute. It was a combination, like literally they said, of like a Minecraft style village builder life sim in Australia with kangaroos and sharks and crocodiles and koalas and all these things. And I'm like, I think that's kind of fun. And I respect that it was just this one guy who did it. He apparently quit his job to do it. It came out actually 3 years ago on Steam, and now it's making its way to Switch, which I'm sure will give it a huge boost because those kinds of games are perfect for the handheld. So stay tuned because I might have downloaded the demo.
Hey, Dinkum, PR, publisher, developer, anyone. You hear that? Internet's biggest Dinkum fan right here, Lauren Rouse from Controller Club. Send her a code. It is funny you bring up the wanting Animal Crossing because you got about 5 Animal Crossings, but none of them were called Animal Crossing.
No. Oh, that's okay. You can bide my time.
Let's talk about the big one here. Hades 2, it got a new trailer. It was a gorgeously animated trailer showing off this new cool art style. The big news out of this was that it is coming out September 25th, 2025. Less than 2 weeks from this trailer's debut, gamers will be able to play 1.0, no more early access, Hades 2 on the Switch 1 and Switch 2 family of consoles. And that's it. Other consoles are coming at a later date. It is a console exclusive starting September 25th, 2025. Lauren, your golden goose is finally here. How excited are you?
Yeah, super excited. If you didn't see our social post, I had to sit there for a minute while it was happening, and I was like, because you were like, it's going to be out today, and I'm like, I'm not mentally ready for that. I'm not mentally ready. Because firstly, not only is this coming out September 25, that is in 2 weeks. It's also barely 2 weeks after Silksong. Imagine having both those like hugely anticipated games in 1 month. It's also 1 week before Yote. Like, I'm literally stressed about what's going to happen in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Like, I don't think people are going to see me anymore. Like, I'm going to become a hermit. I'm insanely excited though. This trailer was so beautiful. Like, it was cool seeing this great kind of almost like TV style cartoon animation to really show off these characters, and they had the great music going, and then they transitioned into gameplay, and like we all played it at PAX. Like, it is the same game but just more, and I'm just so excited that it's finally time, like, because I did not touch it in early access. That was my vow, was that I will wait until it is ready, and I also don't have like really anything to play it on. I do now that it's coming to Switch, but yeah, it's finally going to be time. I can't wait.
Tom, what do you think this does, having 2 insanely hotly anticipated indie game sequels coming out within a month of each other? How do you think this changes up the Game of the Year discussion? I don't think anyone was expecting this to happen.
Yeah, like, this is crazy. I mean, I'm like, I don't know, I'm like 10 hours into Silksong at this point, I think, and I'm like, am I gonna have to just rush this game before Hades comes out so I can determine which of these games is Game of the Year? I don't know. Like, it is bold. I mean, it's exciting, to be honest. Like, the fact that they basically dropped the gauntlet with this release date, I think is really cool. Like Lauren said, it's stressing me out a lot with these kind of fall winter releases that we're gonna have to try and get through before the end of the year so we can talk about them. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how things stack up as people look back on the year already. There's already so many contenders like Donkey Kong and Claire Obscure, of course, and now these games and plenty others. Like, it's gonna be tough competition. To be honest, I didn't expect it to be this kind of crazy, but It's exciting. I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, there was rumors of Hades 2 coming out soon over the last couple of weeks, and I kept thinking, "There's no way they're gonna announce a release date, and it'll be January. Like they're gonna get past holiday, and we'll finally get it in the new year." But no, it's still coming, 2025. I can't believe it. I'm very excited. I have reorganized my gaming calendar a little bit because Borderlands 4 just came out and that was going to be the game. I tweeted about it. I said, "This is happening. I am getting back into Borderlands." And then Hades 2 throw its release date down in 2 weeks. And I very quickly said, "Actually, Borderlands, you're going to have to wait because I don't have time for you right now. We need to get ready for Hades 2. There are other things to play." And then we're going to Ghost of Yote is right there. Mario Galaxy 2 is right there. And yes, it's like $50 Canadian, but I will be spending $50 on it.
Do you think
It's crazy.
Supergiant sat there and was like, they always had this September release planned, and then Silksong came out with like, we're dropping in 2 weeks, and they're like, well, do we move? Or do you think they moved it internally? Like, was it actually going to come out earlier? Was it always going to come out here? Or I just can't see why they wouldn't maybe wait a few more weeks just to give breathing room, unless they were already super committed to this date.
I don't think it moved internally. And I don't think I would put the just like the anticipation of Silksong, nothing is completely unparalleled. However, if I am at Supergiant, I'm thinking, yeah, well, we also kind of had like one of the biggest indie games ever in the
Yeah,
first
having them
Hades. So
face off is insane at the Game
I don't know
Awards.
how, if I am at Supergiant, I don't really know how scared I am of Team Cherry and the Silksong buzz, as big as it is.
I
I
just
don't
imagine
know.
it's similar audiences.
I know.
Yeah.
And Silksong is not a quick game, nor is Hades. Like, these are probably like 30 to 40 hour games each, just based on their design. So, and they're also like for gluttons of punishment, you know? They share a lot of similarities. So I don't know. I mean, personally, selfishly, I would have liked a few more weeks, but anyway, here we are.
It's heavy as the head. We are eating good this September. We then get into what I call gearing towards the end. Not quite the end of the show. There was kind of, I don't want to call them nothing announcements, but there was just a few smaller things in here. We got a Metroid Prime 4 release date. That's exciting. But before all that, we got one of the most confusing announcements I've ever seen in my entire life. A new console is coming to the Nintendo Switch Online Classics library, the Virtual Boy. We are getting a Virtual Boy drop February 17th, 2026 to play these games on this ill-fated Nintendo console that they have like turned their back on year in year and year since it happened. You need to buy a dedicated Virtual Boy accessory for the Switch 2. It is running $99.99 USD. You cannot play the games without it, or you can buy a $29.99 cardboard kit that also has the lenses included that you can make a little like cardboard headset. But you can't play these games without it. That seems ridiculous to me. These games are not good on all accounts. Like, there was a reason the Virtual Boy failed, but what do we think? Virtual Boy's back? Question mark?
This is
I don't know what this is. Like,
so this is like the first ever kind of like more major foray into VR essentially. And Nintendo released it and it was a massive failure. Like it was one of the I'm not sure what the sales numbers were, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna make a bold claim. Yeah, so 770,000 units worldwide. I think this new this new Virtual Boy is going to completely outpace those numbers. Just for the novelty of it, I think it's so crazy. Like these games haven't been. I guess you could like probably emulate them, but an official way to play a lot of these games, I'm confused, but I kind of love it. I kind of love that they're finding a way to support these games, even if it's like the most like the weirdest way possible. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just sitting here like maybe I should get a Virtual Boy for 70 quid for some reason, you know, just to see what the fuss is about.
Yeah, it's a little confounding. Nintendo has kind of burned this chapter in their history book and has never looked at the Virtual Boy. I think there's some on display at the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto, and that's about like the only place there are people who have collected all the Virtual Boy games, but it is largely being lost to history. Released in 1995, and yeah, as you said, Tom, the lowest selling home console ever.
Yeah. So It's bold. It's
It's
bold
both.
to do.
It is very cool that they are like, even if you have to buy $100 accessory or this $39.99 or $29.99 cardboard kit to play it. It is kind of neat to me that they are like acknowledging that this era existed.
Yeah, it's like a cool game preservation thing in the weirdest way possible. Essentially,
But as I said, none of these games are good. Like
no,
by
they're
all
all probably
accounts, they
terrible.
make you feel terribly sick and are just like not great video games. So I'm glad they're there, and I'm glad for the collectors and the people out there like who will buy this accessory that they can play them. But it is just like, what? How much money did this cost to make this happen? Like, you're manufacturing a new product, like this like plastic thing with the 3D stereoscopic lenses in them. Nintendo's Nintendo. They're going to continue to Nintendo. Next up, we got Fatal Frame 2, a remake of the classic Fatal Frame, is coming in early 2026 to Switch 1 and Switch 2. I have written down this was much too scary for me. I think Lauren agrees with me. Tom was like, this I could play this. I would love to see it.
Maybe.
Next, we had a whole bunch of new Switch 2 editions of games announced. Overcooked 2 is getting an upgrade, Stardew Valley is getting an upgrade, Human Fall Flat, as well as One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, all getting Nintendo Switch 2 editions. No word yet on whether these will be free upgrades for owners of the Switch 1 versions. Stardew Valley's development team have come out saying that it will be free. If you already own Stardew Valley on your Switch 1, it will be a free upgrade, and that upgrade also includes local 4-player co-op for the first time on the Switch console, which is very cool. And then we got a couple Nintendo announcements to end this segment. Metroid Prime 4 has finally gotten a release date. They gave a tease of the game's new open world, as well as a like Samus motorcycle in the game. I will say the open world itself looked a little barren. The motorcycle, cool as hell. And it is coming December 4th, 2025. Tom, we finally have a release date. It's coming in December. It's going to miss the Keighley Game Awards cutoff, but it is still coming in 2025.
Yeah, and that's like, I was wondering when this thing would land because I've said it a couple times on the show. It was supposed to be out now, according to the London Underground, but the fact that it is still coming out this year is great. I was waiting to see what the kind of gimmick of this game, I guess, would be. I mean, we have those kind of like psychic powers, I guess, that have been kind of teased in certain trailers that Samus has this time, but the fact that she has a motorcycle is so cool. And like the footage that we saw in this trailer, I thought looked so good. Like I was gonna wait and see with Prime 4, but like now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I do need to check it out when it comes out. But we'll wait and see. This does look really fun though. I can't wait to play it eventually.
Yeah, they also announced new amiibos coming with Metroid Prime 4, including one that has this motorcycle, which is pretty neat. Lauren, did this do anything for you, seeing this open world? And I don't even know where you stand on like Metroid Prime 4 as a game.
Mildly interested. I've never touched a Metroid game. But yeah, seeing the bike, I was like, ooh, that looks like fun. Love a good vehicle in an open world. So I'm like sitting here like mildly intrigued still. I don't think I'm like 100% committed to playing it, but it is definitely on my radar. Is this a Switch 1 and Switch 2 as well?
It is. It is cross-generation.
Okay, well, maybe I'm more interested then.
There you go. Switch 1 owners, you're getting a game in December. And then we ended this segment with Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC announced and released a new roguelike Emerald Rush mode where you are employed by the villainous Void Co. to collect emeralds all over the levels, including past levels from like the base Donkey Kong Bonanza game. Also, a new Donkey Kong Island level was revealed, inspired by the classic DK Country locale that fans know and love, available right now. And it is $20 US. Tom, are you going to go back to Bonanza for this?
I thought about it, but then I saw the price tag and I'm like, maybe I'll wait a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm that keen on a roguelike mode necessarily. I think that the DK Island stuff looks awesome. But I still have a little bit to go with the post game on Bonanza at the moment, so I feel like I'll be okay not getting to this DLC immediately, but maybe down the road I'll check it out if it piques my interest down there.
Feels kind of early. Feels like I haven't missed Donkey Kong Bonanza. So seeing that $20 price tag, or I guess it'd be more here, I am going, I don't need to spend that right now. I kind of feel like I have Bonanza'd a little too much, so I don't need to go and do it again. And then we get into the grand finale, the last section of the show. We got a bit of a Pokemon block here. Pokemon meets Animal Crossing in a new game called Pokemon Pokopia. It is a new Pokemon crafting life sim. You play as a Ditto whose trainer has mysteriously disappeared, and build a community with fellow Pokemon and discover the secret behind what happened to your trainer. Is he dead? I don't know. No release date was given for that. Lauren, you've been wanting Animal Crossing. This isn't Animal Crossing, but it's Animal Crossing with Pokemon, so I don't
I
know.
love it.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, nice.
I love it. I can't wait. I think it looked a little like, what's this really going to be like? But I think it has all the right things. You get to farm, you get to find and interact with your fellow Pokemon and have them help you build things, and they each have their different unique powers. So like Squirtle can water the plants, and I think Charmander can light fires and like for campfires and things like that. So I'm like, I think there's some really cool possibilities that they'll introduce into this, and it's so like scratching the Animal Crossing between the next Animal Crossing itch for me. So yeah, I'm quite excited.
The only thing I am asking coming out of this trailer is why am I a Ditto who is pretending to be a human? Why can't I just be a human? Because the Ditto eyes on the human trainer, just freaky, just terrifying.
Well,
I don't
so
know. Maybe it's coming from a fellow Pokemon. You don't want to. It would feel a little bit like slave labor if it's just a human ordering them
What
around
do you
to
think the
build them.
Pokemon franchise is? You're taking these animals into like dog battles. You're just like, hey,
I know,
like
and we
fight
should all
this
have
other
a
animal.
hard think about that.
yeah, we it's a big discussion.
What are they eating? Other Pokemon.
I'd rather not know.
Yeah, I think it. I think the Ditto thing is just so there's an explanation of like why you can talk to these Pokemon, I guess, and get the because you're a human and talking to your Pokemon, maybe you would think twice about sending them into battle and that sort of thing. But I thought this looked
Bulbasaur's
great.
like, not again. No, I don't.
Please,
Don't
please
send
stop.
me to
Not
the fields.
the Charizard's too powerful. He's a fire type. What are you doing? Um, but yeah, this game looks great. I think. I really loved the if you remember in Gen 3 or Gen 4, like Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Diamond and Pearl, you can make like little bases in those games, like underground
Oh
bases and that
yeah,
sort of stuff.
underground bases.
Yeah, and like this is almost that, but like way expanded. Like the possibilities of this seem a lot more open than the stuff you could do in those past games. So I'm kind of in. I would have liked like my dream for this would be like if it was just Animal Crossing, but like the villagers were like Pokemon, so they'd be kind of like anthropomorphic, I guess, in a way that's similar to how Animal Crossing is. But I think this is a really cool way of going about it and like being able to set out like your little land. I don't even know if it's like a village or if it's a farm or your like little ranch. I don't really know what this is like supposed to be, but your Pokopia, I guess. But I love this idea of being able to customize and do all that stuff. So I'm pretty excited. This is a weird direction for a spin-off for Pokemon, but I'm kind of here for it.
It makes total sense to me. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at something like Dragon Quest Builders from a couple of years ago, where they took the Dragon Quest franchise and essentially did this same thing. It's less Animal Crossing and more Stardew Minecraft, like that survival
Yeah.
sort of thing, where you are kind of building this town and foraging for things. And maybe we're going to get some light combat like you do in Stardew. I think that it makes total sense. Pokemon continues to invade every genre, so why not do the survival life sim thing? And it wasn't the only Pokemon announcement we got. Tom, you're going to be given the milk cart here or the milk crate, because there were some new mega evolutions announced for Pokemon Legends Z through A, ZA, ZA, ZA. Don't really know. I was on Brian Shea's All Things Nintendo podcast talking about our PAX West adventures a couple weeks ago, and I was saying ZA, and he had to like stop me and go, why he is saying that is because he's Canadian, and it is actually Pokemon ZA, and
Oh,
here we are. New Mega Evolutions announced. I wrote down Tom was very excited, as well as a tease of DLC for the game coming titled Mega Dimension, and it will feature 2 new Mega Evolutions for Raichu. Tom, was there any major news here other than the big new Mega Evolutions?
For ZA, that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, you've got Mega Chestnut, Mega Delphox, and Mega Greninja, who are like the starter Pokemon from X and Y, which is what ZA is kind of like based on, I guess. The annoying thing is that, and this is, I guess, a point of controversy among Pokemon fans at the moment, is that the only way to get the stones that you can evolve these Pokemon with is through like online battles, and it will be like a seasonal thing apparently. where in season 0 or season 1 you get one Mega Stone so you can evolve Mega Chestnut, and then the next season Delphox, the next season Greninja, which just seems like kind of a weird way of going about it. Like, if you don't participate in these like online rank battles, you're just completely excluded from, these Pokemon essentially, which it does kind of suck. I I really like these designs. I think they're really cool, but I think Game Freak, I kind of hope they kind of look at this, I guess, backlash and maybe uh, fix that. I don't know if they will do anything or not, but yeah, I mean, the DLC, it is kind of expected at this point for Pokemon games to get DLC, but Arceus didn't get DLC, so this is kind of interesting that we're now getting this. The Raichu designs, they're interesting. They look kind of funky, but I'm kind of excited. I mean, we talked about Legend ZA. You particular, Klein, like, were kind of surprised by it. So I think this is really cool that this is getting support like after the fact. So yeah, pretty interesting.
Lauren, being somebody like you who is bought in, is ready for Pokemon Legends ZA, did seeing this move the needle either direction for you? Are you more in? Are you less in? Or was it just, oh, it's another trailer?
Yeah, at this point, I don't need any more convincing. Like, I am going to be buying it straight away. And I don't really have the same lore as someone like Tom, where I like care too much about what each of the different Mega Evolutions is and how to get them. I'm very much like the casual Pokemon player, where I'm like, I just want to collect the 151 or whatever it is, and get the ones that I know. I don't feel like I need to have the best tier Mega Evolved Super Pokemon ever. But I think like that's obviously a huge part of what Pokemon is for some people, and they're feeding into that. I'm curious in terms of what this DLC will be. Is it just going to be a case of like, here's 20 new Mega Evolutions are going to be dropped into the world and only you pay for the DLC and that's how you get them? Or is it they're going to be in a separate area and that's part of the DLC and you have to go there and capture them? Like, I'm just curious to know more about what that is. And is it just Raichu? Are there others? Like, too many questions.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll
I
be
think it'll
more.
be others.
And if it's a Mega Dimension, I'm guessing. Well, so the big thing with that is that Hooper was included in that portion of the trailer, and Hooper is a dimension opening Pokemon, so
Right.
that Pokemon can open dimensions to other places. So I'm guessing we are probably going to go to different locales, and where that is, I'm not sure. Maybe it's other regions, maybe it's like a completely new sort of area. But I'm sure there'll be a new story and new Pokemon, new areas to explore tied in with that.
We'll go to the world of Digimon, and we'll introduce some digital monsters into the fray.
That would
Agumon's
be
going to show up
crazy.
fighting Pikachu, and it's going to be sick. Next up, we had Dynasty Warriors Origins, Danganronpa 2x2, and Monster Hunter Stories 3. Origins is coming with paid DLC, releasing January 22nd, 2026. Danganronpa 2x2 is a remaster of the original Danganronpa 2 with a new scenario that's coming 2026 as well. And then Monster Hunter Stories 3 gets a release date. It is coming March 13th, 2026. Then the last two announcements. This next one's quite exciting. Resident Evil Requiem announced for Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. New trailer featuring gameplay we had not seen. That's not from the demo that Tom played at PAX West. And it is being released February 27th, 2026. That's not all, though. On that same date for the Nintendo Switch 2, Resident Evil 7 and 8 will also come to the console. Tom, are you going to play this on Switch 2? Did this do anything to convince you to play it on this hybrid system, or is this still a PS5, best possible graphics, best possible frame rate, that sort of thing?
I think it probably is still PS5 for me just because I have one. But like, I think this is great, like that people who just have a Switch 2 will be able to experience these games and in a portable form factor. I hope these games run well. I'm sure they will. The fact that these aren't the cloud versions, like they were on Switch 1, for like RE7 and 8, like I think that's promising. So yeah, I'm just glad that like Capcom is supporting the Switch 2 and seems to be continuing to do that with future releases. I think that's only a great thing.
I think this says a lot about where the Switch 2 stands in the mind of other publishers and developers when it comes to third-party support, because Nintendo consoles in the past have notoriously not had great third-party support, but the fact that RE9 is not just coming to Switch 2, it is coming on release date to Switch 2 as well. These other ones are going to be hitting the console. Will it be an Elden Ring Tarnished Edition situation, or will it be a Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate situation? I think that developers have shown they can get these high-powered games running on a Switch 2. It's just a matter of how well. So we'll have to see, because this could be a disaster, or it could be something really special like Final Fantasy VII was in the demo we played at PAX. Next up, we had one last thing. A new Fire Emblem game has been revealed, Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. It is a Switch 2 exclusive being released in 2026, and it takes place, as far as we know, in the Three Houses universe timeline. Don't really know how the Fire Emblem franchise works, but the lady at the end is also in Three Houses, and she is older. That is what I know as somebody who hasn't played more than 5 hours of Three Houses. Tom, I'm going to ask you again, because you're the only one of us who've played Fire Emblem. Are you amped for more Fire Emblem coming next year?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I think I can't even remember. I guess it was Engage was the most recent one. I didn't play that one. I heard that the gameplay was really good, but the story was just not it. And this seems like a good step in the right direction in terms of story wise. I think I love the gameplay of Fire Emblem, but I'm also really here for like the world it's building, the characters that you meet along the way, and just the kind of interesting characters you see in this trailer really have me intrigued, and like this Colosseum kind of aesthetic as well. um People were saying there are like there are like units who are like riding I guess big birds, so they're like the chicken jockey like unit, I guess, essentially, which is a bit of fun. But no, the fact this also potentially ties in with Three Houses, Sothis, who's the character who appears at the end of the trailer, kind of connects to crests, which are these like powers that your units can use in Three Houses, and it seems like those are returning in this game too, which should add some really cool gameplay dynamics. So yeah, I've been off the Fire Emblem bandwagon for a little bit, but I think this is where I'm going to jump back on. This looks like just really promising.
The first thing I noticed as somebody who's seen these trailers and has played a little bit of Three Houses is just the upgrade from Switch 1 to Switch 2 looks crazy. The lighting in this
Mm,
world looks so much
yeah.
better. Lauren, are you interested at all in a game like this, tactical RPG like Fire Emblem?
Not really. I don't want to waste any words on it. I'm not saying it's obviously a bad game. I just don't. I've got enough going on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that brings us to the end of the Nintendo Switch, or sorry, the Nintendo Direct for September 12th, 2025. I want to ask you first, Lauren, because Tom has been talking a lot over the last little while. What were your overall thoughts of the presentation, and maybe what was the biggest announcement of the show for you?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, I was coming in with low expectations because I'm trying to put less pressure on these kinds of things. But yeah, I was uh pretty consistently entertained throughout with like a sporadic announcements. It felt like every few there was one that I was like semi interested in, which is great. And I think there was it did a good job of like yeah, fleshing out the calendar for the coming months. And of course the biggest reveal was definitely Hades having that very, very soon release date, because I had kind of put it out of my mind, and I was just like, I mean, I was mildly hoping by the end of the year it would be out, but I was also resigned to it just being next year or in the future. So to have it coming out in 2 weeks is kind of blown my mind. And I think for the rest of the showcase, I wasn't really responsive because I was still contemplating how I'm going to do that. But yeah, I found a few games that yeah, I didn't really even know I needed. So yeah, the Pokemon Pokopia was probably the biggest one out of those. That is definitely something that I hope comes to Switch 1. Because again, not buying a Switch 2 for that, guys. But yeah, I think in general it was a good showcase from Nintendo. One of the better ones for me.
Tom, what do you think? Are you as, I don't know, as positive on this?
Yeah, definitely. Like it was just solid all around. I think like I look at these announcements and I'm like like I just feel like directs in general. I know it's like the most recent ones haven't been the best necessarily since the Switch came out, but like I think of the kind of showcases we do get from a lot of these um AAA developers and console makers, Nintendo still just manages to make them the best in general, I think. And this is no different. I think they had such a good showing, some really cool surprises. And like, even though it's a game that has been a known quantity for a while, I think it is that Hades 2 release date. Like, not shadow drop, but like the fact that it is 2 weeks away. I think that's such a bold thing for them to have here. So that probably is the biggest announcement here for me. But yeah, like just I hope we get more directs like this in the future and at this kind of caliber, because if they can keep this up, I think the Switch 2 era is gonna be something special.
I'm so much more excited coming out of this about the Switch 2 in the future, in the next year, in the next probably 18 months than I was beforehand. I think coming off of the Switch 1 or Switch 2's release, those first few months was exciting. I have a new Donkey Kong game. I'm playing Mario Kart. I just having this new piece of technology. But over the last little bit, it has been kind of I have been kind of feeling, well, what's next? I'm having fun playing the first Hollow Knight on it. I'm having fun playing games that I've played before, but now running a little bit better on this piece of machine or this piece of hardware. But what are we going to do as we roll into its first birthday and beyond? So now we know. We have a bit better idea. I think the biggest announcement for me, funnily enough, it isn't Hades 2. I'm very excited for Hades 2, but it is Mario Galaxy 2 being playable on the Switch 2. I've never played Mario Galaxy 2. Mario is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Galaxy is my favorite Mario game of all time. It's like a top 3 video game for me. And as everyone I know who I've ever talked to about the Galaxy franchise says Galaxy 2 is better. And so I'm just like, this could be a really special fall, getting to basically play a new 3D Mario game that could be one of my favorites. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Before we get out of here, let's just quickly grade this thing on a school grade system, A, B, C plus. Where are we landing? I think for me, I'm going to give it a B plus. I don't think it's quite an A, but B plus is good. That's really good. Tom, what about you?
I think I'm slightly higher. I think I'm an A minus. Like it's not the best, but I think it is like that kind of upper echelon, like really good direct.
Lauren?
I think I'm with Tom, like with the A minus. I think to be like a really high up there Nintendo Direct, I think there needs to be like a huge first party announcement. If they'd had like that new 3D Mario game, if they'd had a new Animal Crossing, if they'd had a new Smash or something like that, I think that would have been like, okay, we can't really top this anymore. But it was just kind of missing that one big thing.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, Fire Emblem would be that, but that doesn't have
Sure.
the mass appeal of even like a new Zelda game or
Mm.
a 3D
Exactly.
Mario, like you said. So yeah, I do think it was maybe missing that one that like even if it's 3 years away, there's just like that one big like boom, like we are working on the next blank game for the Switch
I
2.
mean, you have to think that 40th anniversary of Mario, like I'm sure this isn't the last we're hearing of that. You would have to think that there's a Mario game coming next year.
Maybe. We'll see.
Hopefully.
That team
Hopefully.
just did Donkey Kong, but was it the whole team doing Donkey Kong? We'll have to wait and find out. That's basically wrapping up our direct conversation. Now let's get into what we've been playing over the last week. I'm very curious. We're gonna go to Lauren first because she just has written down she has a bit of a situation. Lauren, please regale us with what gaming situation you have going on in your life right now.
Yeah, it's not a bad situation. It was just quite unique in that I was coming back from PAX, and I was like, I played all these games only piecemeal with demos and things like that. I was telling a friend of mine, and he was like, "Why?" Like another friend who was also into games like we are, and he's like, "Why don't we do like a gaming night?" But it's not really like a game night like you might think it is. It was like we are going to go through and play games that we've always either recommended to each other or thought about playing, and we're just going to play like an hour of each and see if they actually grab us or not. So it was kind of like having a charcuterie board of games, which I think you don't do that with just like any friend. I think like us three would be like people who would do that, to be like, we have so many things on our list. Let's see what the fuss is about this. So I won't talk about all of them, but the ones we played were 1,000 Times Resist, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Unravel 2, and Supermarket Shriek. I don't know if you guys know of any of those. Just quickly, like 1,000 Times Resist is one that have been heavily recommended to me, and I can see why. It's very vibey. It's very story driven. It's very cool. I was definitely intrigued by the story. I wasn't playing. I was letting my friend drive for that one. So that's one that I'm like, I think I'm interested, but it was also like very dense with story. So and less on gameplay, at least from the beginning. So that has my interest. Lorelei and Laser Eyes was cool because it was like a puzzle, like this sort of moody puzzle game, a little spooky, very vibes heavy. I think that's one of those ones that it's like I'm gonna have to think too much, so I probably won't go back to that. Unravel 2, very fun. It's kind of like a Split Fiction, It Takes Two kind of game. That was just adorable. Having a good time doing couch co-op with that. But it's Supermarket Shriek that I have to tell you guys about. Do either of you know what this is?
No, never heard of it.
Okay. It's a couch co-op game where it simply is that you are a guy in a shopping trolley who has to use his scream, like the audio waves, to direct him around the supermarket. And like it's just like these crazy supermarket challenges. Like sometimes you have to go grab the chips and the baked beans and get to the cashier, or it's like you have to jump over like aisles of water, and if you fall, like it's all like time trials. And then if you play co-op, there's one person who plays as the guy and someone else is a goat. And so bear in mind, the entire time they're doing this, they're screaming. So it's just all this like yelling the entire time. And occasionally, if you stop the button, press it again, they have different pitches of screaming. It's hilarious. I highly, highly recommend this as like just a party game or a co-op game to play with friends, because it was just so funny. So yeah, that was a very fun random situation I got into this week. But turned out I played like more games than I have probably like all year pre-PAX.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun, a great way to like sample a bunch of different things. I'd heard of Lorelei and Thousand Times Resist, but I have not, and Unraveled. I have not heard about Supermarket Shriek, but I am writing that one down.
Yeah, this looks crazy. Like I love like the even like the collision physics when there's like a stack of like I don't know like products and then you just smash into it. Like
Oh yeah.
this
Yeah,
looks
because
insane.
somebody's scream makes you turn one way and somebody's is the other. And if you go both, you go
Oh,
straight. You really have to coordinate. And it's quite difficult, particularly if you aren't giving each other orders the entire time. You have to kind of get in tune with like, okay, now you're turning, now I'm turning, now I'm taking my finger off the button. It's challenging, but just so funny.
It'd be fun if they could incorporate the mic on your controller into that sort of thing. And so you're
Oh,
both
you
just
could
like
just watch so quickly.
screaming and losing your voices, make your throats raw, just screaming into your controllers. Lauren, I know Thomas teased about playing Silksong, but you also have Silksong written down. So I'm going to let you two discuss. You're in? You've started Silksong?
Yep, I'm playing the game that's betrayed me in Fantasy Critic. I'm playing Silksong. I skipped
whoa.
Hollow Knight. I was like, I've waited too long at this point. I want to be part of the conversation in Silksong. So I've jumped right in. I'm super, super early. I'm still in the marrow. And
Okay.
I'm really taking my time with it. Like when this is not something I'm expecting to finish straight away. I am just like really, because obviously it drops you in a very little context. And so I'm just sort of taking my time, learning the ropes, reading the guides, trying to figure it out. And I think it is something that I will just like chip away at over probably the next few months, few years even. But Tom, how are you finding it as the resident Hollow Knight fan?
I love this game. It's so good. Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm kind of like I think around 10 hours in, so I'm a lot further than you are, Lauren. So I won't give away too much about like what is to come. I will say that there are some optional, at least from what I can tell, these bosses are optional because they didn't progress the story at all, and some of them are really difficult. So I would just say, Lauren, if you come across that, don't feel like you need to do any of that. I'm a psycho, and I decided like, no, I'm gonna brute force it. But like some of these boss fights are like they are tough, and like Hollow Knight is a difficult game. But some of the stuff they have you doing in Silksong is kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, I'm loving the game. I think the ways they have you unlocked any of the like abilities, Lauren, like any of the like power ups.
I have the oh, I don't know what it's called, like the needle where you just rush forward and can cut through cobwebs and things.
Okay, yeah. You haven't got like a dash attack yet, or like a
Not yet.
dash.
I just unlocked the Bell Beast.
Okay, right. Well, there is a dash. That's like not that much of a spoiler, but
No, I've
when you
seen it.
unlock that, yeah, when you unlock that, I think that's when the game like comes alive because your movement just becomes crazy. Like in Hollow Knight, in the first game, you unlock abilities, but you still kind of go around the world relatively slowly, I would say. But when you unlock this dash ability with Hornet, like you just zoom across the world so elegantly, I guess, and the movement just feels so good. Yeah, like I mentioned, the bosses they are very difficult, but like when you beat them, it is so satisfying. They get so creative with the ways they attack you. The different things they do with that are so cool. And then just the locations you visit. I would say they just feel so much more varied than Hollow Knight ever did, which is really cool. I'm constantly like surprised by like the way the directions the art direction goes. It just it's blown me away and has just kind of exploded my game of the year talk because I don't know what I'm going to do now because this game's very good. So yeah.
Yeah, I think not having any context really for what Hollow Knight was, I didn't, and obviously only having played Silksong at PAX, I was kind of not really sure what to expect. And now I can kind of see what everyone's talking about. It's so delightful and charming. Like I love that you'll come across these little bug guys and they'll just make
Yeah.
human sounds. Like there's
Yeah.
these guys, these snail guys who like throw kind of chunks of acid at you and they just go like, ugh. Like it's just I can just picture some dev sitting there like making these noises and then attaching them to little creatures. Obviously, Sherma is my guy. Like we love her so, or I don't know, yes, so much. Singing at the door,
Yeah.
honestly, encore
Best.
girl. Like we need song of the summer. Um, I love them so much. And who's the map one? The map one's good too.
Oh yeah, what is her name? Yeah, she's
The
great
map
because
maker.
she also sings and she's like
Yeah.
whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh yes, I'm safe. I feel so safe.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's been really fun, just seeing all the varied little guys that you come across and the little like it's a fully fleshed out world, which is super cool. I don't think I've really expected that. Obviously, not having played Hollow Knight. But yeah, they're just it's the little things like when Hornet jumps and the cape kind of billows, and it's
Yeah.
just so nice.
I haven't been playing Silksong. I have been playing Hollow Knight though, and I'm very close to the end, but I've hit a difficulty wall. So we'll see. We'll see if I
Difficulty
can make it through it.
Difficulty is definitely a conversation that's been coming up a lot with this game. I think people after like 6 or 7 years are like, "Why game hard?" And everyone's just sort of have had two tracks of it with being like, "Get over it," or like just putting it down because they think it's too hard. I am of the mind that it would be nice to have difficulty options just to make it a little more accessible for everyone, and then you wouldn't come into these troubles. But I don't know. Where do you stand on that, Tom?
Yeah, it's tough because this game is very difficult at points. Especially when there was a point where I got lost and I had no idea where to go. And when you're in those situations, sometimes it's very difficult to figure out what you're supposed to do. Essentially, um, yeah, I don't know. I think part of the charm is that it is kind of quite punishing, but there are moments where it's like, okay, I'm doing a boss fight, and then instead of respawning right outside the boss door, I respawn to a bench, and I have to
The
run
run
all the way
back.
back to the boss, and then I have to fight all these
Losing
people, and they're
yourself.
going to damage
Yeah.
me, and it's quite it gets a bit frustrating. So I don't know. I think I don't mind it, but I can see the argument of like why people would want more people playing games is always a good thing. Maybe in the future they'll do something like that. I'm not sure.
I don't think there's gonna be any lack of people playing this game.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's true.
Whether they
It's not
finish it, that's
necessarily the
another
people
story.
playing. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. It's like, is it too punishing to the point where you give up?
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
stubborn,
have
I
hit
guess.
in
So,
Hollow Knight 1 right now that I'm much deeper than I've ever gotten before. I have hit a couple of these walls, but then I take a break and I come back 3 days later and I beat the boss first try, and it feels like it's euphoric. Like it is.
yeah,
I jumped out of the
feels so
couch the
good.
other day when I took down one of them. So I see why people get it. It's the whole Souls thing. It's like I see why
Hmm.
people enjoy this, like hitting your head against a wall for sometimes hours. I've heard stories of people playing Silksong taking on one boss for 9 hours and then finally breaking through. And it's like that. Good for you. It might not be for me, but good for you.
Yeah.
A game that is very much for me. I want to talk about. I've reviewed a game for Controller Club. This is from Voidmaw Games, a new roguelike sci-fi action game called Katanaut. It's like katana with not at the end, like astronaut. And basically, it's like, what if we took Ryu Hayabusa or any ninja samurai character and made them an astronaut and put them in space and then set them on a space station similar to Alien or Aliens, where there are these ungodly horrors lurking around. And it's a roguelike, kind of like Dead Cells, where you are going from run to run and picking up new weapons. It's a sword and a gun that you get. Those obviously have all sorts of different variations. And as you run through, you are killing these terrible monsters, these very terrifying beasts. It's got this gorgeous pixel art, and slowly progressing this kind of terrifying space horror story with like light Metroidvania elements as well. You are like slowly accumulating power ups and unlocking your way as you go. There's like a currency that comes with you from run to run. You go back to this hub in upgrade, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I don't think it's not my game of the year, but I played about 12 hours of it and really enjoyed my time with it. I think it's probably like a solid like 8.5 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10. I did run into some significant technical issues as I was playing. The rooms in this game can get very busy, full of these just like terrifying pixelated beasts coming at you, and it made my computer chug. And I've got a decent rig set up, but it did make the like frame rate drop down significantly. And also because everything is quite dark, it's this gorgeous pixelated art style, but a lot of things are various shades of brown and gray. And so in these busy situations, in these darkly, dimly lit hallways, it can be hard to discern what can hit me and endanger me and what can't. And that in a game like this, where every hit really means something, is like quite upsetting. But it is a lot of fun when you are in these like more brightly lit environments and taking on these monsters. It does this really, really kind of gross, but like, I'm gonna say awesome thing where every swing of your blade against an enemy makes their just like pixelated entrails and blood spatter all over the wall. And so when you leave a room, you're leaving these just like, you're leaving a mess. Like, you are just leaving the whole wall, all the walls and the doors and the floors have been covered in this like pixelated blood, and it's kind of awesome. But yeah, I really liked it. It's called Katanaut. It's out now on Steam. You can play that. And the only other thing that I've really been diving into was something Tom and I got to try last week, Marvel Tokon. We played the beta. What did you think, Tom? We only played a little bit. We only got probably a couple hours of time on it. But this is the new fighting game from Arc System Works, the people behind Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Guilty Gear. They're making a Marvel tag game. We've played, yeah, a few hours of it, all online. We didn't get to play against each other. Some
Yeah.
people already very good at this game,
Oh yeah.
maybe too good at this game. But yeah, what did you think, Tom, diving into Marvel Tokon?
Yeah, I've been excited about this game since it got announced. So I've only really dipped into Street Fighter, like I guess some other like games. Like we played a bit of Tekken as well when I was over there too. But like I've not dipped my toe into the tag team kind of fighting game style. So I was kind of intimidated by this game a little bit, but I found it pretty like I guess inviting or just very easy to pick up, surprisingly. And definitely there is a high ceiling, a very high skill ceiling that you can achieve if you're playing this game. But and again, like people are very good at this game. Playing against them online, it got tough a lot of the time. You get like punished super hard. But I had so much fun with this. It just feels so natural to switch between characters, and when you're fighting, like as you accumulate heroes throughout the matches, when you do certain moves and like your team is like attacking alongside with you, um you can just come up with some really creative stuff. I think Dr. Doom was definitely my favorite that I got to try out. He has some really fun moves where he can create like shields that can kind of trap your opponent and cause them to kind of mess up, I guess, and then you can take advantage of that. I can't wait till this game comes out. I want to see who else they're going to add to this game because I'm sure the character roster is going to be immense. But yeah, I'm guessing you felt similar, Klein, because yeah, we were having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, Doctor Doom was also my favorite. I liked he had this kind of projectile shield you could throw out in front of you that if the opponent hit, it would do damage. But then he had another move where you could throw that same shield on the other side of them and have it track back towards you. So that it like made them either close in or like get stuck. And so you could throw that out, dash towards them. If they moved away, they'd hit it and kind of get stunned. I did find some of the characters quite annoying. I think Miss Marvel, with her all of her stretchy limbs, can reach
Yeah.
you anywhere, and it can feel impossible to do anything. But yeah, I think this game, it feels really good to play. It feels a lot more accessible than something even like I've been slowly documenting my fighting game journey on the show for the last couple of years, where like I've dipped my toe into Tekken and Street Fighter, and I really like what I'm playing, but I don't feel like I can ever compete with people who know what they're doing. But in this game, because it is like wholly new, we're getting in on the ground floor, I do feel like I have a little bit of an advantage. And they make just like the button combinations a little bit easier. In Street Fighter, you're doing a lot of like quarter circles with the control stick and Z motions and doing all these like different kind of, I guess, motion controls is what they call it in the fighting game community. Whereas this is like I'm going to hold up a controller. You have 3 buttons. You have light, medium, heavy on what would be on XYB on an Xbox controller. And then a couple like special moves where you can hold down a trigger and hit any of those. You can hold down a trigger and hit the directional. And it just feels a little more approachable and easier to like, I can see I'm getting 1 or 2 hits on an attack or something right now. But as somebody who's just learning the game with those few buttons, it does make it easier for me to see a potential where I'm like, oh, maybe these 1 or 2 hit things, I can maybe start to chain these to these other 1 or 2 hit things and really start to see the potential. Whereas with Street Fighter, because it, and Tekken especially, because it is so many different button combinations, it can be hard to like take that next step to being that player who just hits punch, hits kick, hits a special move, to the player that does punch, kick into special move and starts to actually like chain things together. And so I think like that to me is really one of the best things I can say about this game. I'm also playing, I'll talk more about it, I think, next week because we are getting long here, but I'm also playing 2KXO, which is the new free-to-play fighting game from the League of Legends team. And it's almost exactly the same button scheme as Marvel Tokon. And I feel exactly the same way. Like I do feel like I am learning words to start to piece those together to form a sentence and then be able to like do these long strings of button combinations and longer combos. But yeah, Marvel Tokon, it feels good. I do think it's still a little while away. That's like my only playing it. They had 6 characters in the beta. You pick 4 on your team, so there was a lot of crossover, and it did feel like if they had more characters ready, they would have been in there, and they didn't. So is this a late next year thing? Is this maybe even an early 2027 thing? I don't know, but I think the foundation does feel quite good.
Yeah, definitely. And like the game looks cool. I mean, the game looks gorgeous. Like the way everything's animated, the character designs, and even like I didn't know this about the game until we played the beta, but like you can do stage transitions and like the way those kind of flow together in the combat looked amazing. So yeah, hopefully it is next year and not 2027 because I really want to play this game like
I
really
hope it's
badly,
out
but we'll see.
ideally before Evo next year, because I want to see some people
Yeah.
really like high level play this on like a tournament stage. But as always, you can let us know what you've been playing over on socials. That's also where you can leave a comment to get featured in our comment corner. Tom, Drew, do we have a comment this week that we want to spotlight?
Yeah, we do indeed. Last week on the, last week on the podcast, we were talking about our time at PAX, and Klein's game of the show was Rebounder, and the team behind Rebounder, little cute little indie game. If you haven't heard about it, go check out our coverage about it. We did a separate. We talked about it in the podcast. We also did a separate like video, standalone video about it. And the team behind Rebounder, 33 Games, commented on that highlight video. I just said, yo, thanks for the kind words. Nice meeting y'all at the mix. It was a lot of fun. So shout out 33 Games. Shout out Rebounder. If you haven't heard about this game until this point, go check out our coverage. Go check out the game. It's very good. It's just a very good game.
I was singing its praises on All Things Nintendo, my appearance there last week. I will continue singing it here. I put up my formal application online this week. I want to be Rebounder's biggest fan on the internet.
I think it's possible.
Let's make it happen, 33 Games. Let's make it happen. This week, if you are listening, please answer our comment corner question of the week. Your favorite announcement from the Nintendo Direct. Are you as hyped on Hades 2? Was Mario Galaxy 2 your thing, or was it something else? Let us know in the comments below this video, or if you're listening on Spotify, head on over there and their comment section and leave us a comment there. As always, please go follow the show at Controller Club Pod on Instagram and Blue Sky, at Controller_Club on Twitter, and at Controller.Club on TikTok. Also, as I've teased, as we've mentioned a few times here, we are on YouTube. If you're listening to the show on Spotify, on podcast services around the globe, and you want to see our beautiful faces, you can head on over to our YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out, and rate and review us wherever you're listening right now. 5 stars, 5 stars. Tom, where can people keep up with you, and what do you have going on?
Yeah, you can find me at Tom Duart, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, basically everywhere on the internet. Yeah, the only things I have to promote really are other content from PAX and the stuff that we have on the YouTube channel. So we did like a ranking the best video game items video. We did like an episode about that ages ago, but I put it together into this other video. And if that interests you, go check it out. It was a lot of fun doing that. Obviously, all the PAX coverage, like I mentioned, the Rebounder stuff, all the kind of shorts we've put up has been really cool. And the only other thing is that I was on another podcast in the past couple of weeks with Klein. I was on Reckless Rebellion, Klein's Star Wars podcast that he does with a couple of other fine folks over there. We did a bit of like a trivia battle hosted by Thomas Carter Rochester. I won't spoil who won. It was between me and Klein going head to head in Star Wars trivia. But it was a fun time. It was a lot of fun. So go check that out.
I won't spoil who won, but Tom might run the podcast now. Next up, Lauren Rouse, where can people keep up with you, and what do you have happening?
You can follow me at lrouse19 on the socials. Similar to Tom, I'm just like reposting and resharing a lot of the content that we've been putting out. We have been putting out a lot, but we're trying to keep up a steady flow. If you haven't gone and commented on which character Klein should cosplay, that has been getting a lot of interest. So make sure you get in there, and we'll hopefully convince him to do that for next time. But yeah, in my other professional life, I am on a bit of a Christopher Nolan kick at the moment for a project that I'm working on. And so I went and wrote about Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. An incredibly rare take. No one, I don't think, knows about Heath Ledger playing the Joker, but I did write about it over on Pelaplat for one of their writing competitions. So if you go over there and you read it and you like it, give it a light point. That helps me rise the ranks in the challenge. And yeah, I would appreciate that.
Excellent. And you can keep up with me as always at the Kleinfelt, TheKleinFelt, Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter. That's going to wrap up this episode of Controller Club. As always, thank you so much for listening. Now, let's get gaming.